I quickly want to talk about something that keeps coming up on my For You page, and it's about a certain equestrian influencer who is incredibly small, and they do post their what I eat in a days, and they do a lot of exercise, they do multiple workouts a day, and a lot of people finding this sort of content incredibly triggering and incredibly harmful, and I understand that, but also I think we really need to understand that as someone that has struggled with food before and has been in this industry my entire life, eating disorders are far too often associated with the equestrian world, and that is not for no reason. The pressure that is put on riders, especially female riders, to be as small as possible, despite the fact we are athletes, is insane. And it's been happening for decades, as long as I can remember. And I'm sure it's nothing new. I'm sure it's been around way earlier than when I was on the internet as well. Anytime a rider is not rail thin, I see someone fat shaming them. I see so many people self-conscious about their thighs on the saddle, despite the fact that our thighs are meant to be bigger. They are meant to be muscly. Our thighs control 600 kilos. Yet I know one of the most common insecurities with riders is the size of their thighs and the fact they haven't got a thigh gap. Maybe we need to consider why these eating disorders and why the pressure to be so skinny is such a common issue in this industry. When I think back to when I was 15 and I was modeling and I was crazy skinny, one thing I do remember is I would put on my riding clothes and I finally felt good enough. I finally felt pretty. I finally felt like I looked the way I was meant to look on my horse, despite the fact that I was so skinny that when I rode and got off my horse, my tailbone would be bleeding. I had to stop riding because riding was causing me such physical pain, but that was the one time in my life where I was like, this is how I'm meant to look on a horse. That is what this industry drilled into me as a teenager. And even now in my 20s, I still struggle with it because if I put on the tiniest bit of weight, if I'm bloated, you guys notice it. And someone will comment saying, you're getting closer to the 20% rule. So instead of slamming people that could be struggling and slamming people trying to meet these impossible beauty standards of this industry, maybe we need to actually address the industry and realize that the sort of stuff that we are putting out there and the sort of aspirational look that we are making people feel like they need to live up to is unrealistic and unsafe. The pressure to look a certain way in this industry is sick, especially because this is a dangerous sport where if you're not there 110%, you can die. And all it takes is one mistake. And I can promise you, when you are not fueling your body and you are not fueling your brain, that risk of making those life-altering mistakes is so much higher.